For the second Whitbread, Peter Blake was watch captain aboard Heath's Condor, skippered by Les Williams and Robin Knox-Johnston. The 77-foot sloop led the 15 yachts out of the Solent, but her experimental carbon fibre mast was to break off the west coast of Africa, destroying Condor's chances of overall line honours. This second round-the-world race welcomed its first woman skipper, Claire Francis, on the Swan Ketch ADC AccuTrack. But the personality who would dominate this and the next Whitbread was Connie van Rietschoten, a wealthy Dutch businessman with a taste for adventure.
After I retired, I wanted to do something out of the ordinary. And I read the book, Theirs is the Glory, Chay Blyth. And I thought, well, after I read it, why do other people those things? Why don't I do them ever, you know? It was always work, work, work.
And Connie applied the same work ethic to his Whitbread campaign, insisting on the best designers, boat builders, materials and crew. His aluminium ketch then had to undergo extensive sea trials, notching up over 10,000 miles.
We were definitely the best prepared boat because we took her over to the States and back under racing conditions. Some of these boats were in the water a week before the start in England, and that's wrong. You have to be properly prepared for a thing like this.
Calling your flyer to everyone on board. Very, very well done. Congratulations and a very special welcome from the Royal Cape Yacht Club.
Connie's preparation paid off as Flyer was first into Cape Town. But the Dutchman's main aim now was to win the handicap prize, the prestigious Whitbread trophy. Connie recognised that Flyer at 65 feet would be hard-pressed to match the speed of Great Britain too, 12 feet longer. Chay Blyth's ketch, which took overall line honours in the first race, was now skippered by Rob James. Flyer's big rival was King's Legend, a Swan 65 with an American Skip Novak on board, enjoying the first of 4 Whitbreads.
Great times, you know, we had a bottle of wine with dinner. Each watch had a bottle of wine for dinner, and this is how we went around the world with cases of wine in the bilge. And we still got second. Could have won it. It wasn't because of the wine.
But on Flyer, everything was geared to winning. Connie was among the first to use freeze-dried food, so reducing the weight of provisions on board. He ran his boat like his own life, in an organised and disciplined way.
I made a set of rules. They called them Flyer rules, and one of them no shouting, one of them was no swearing, and they were not allowed to complain about the food, because that's the first thing they all do, and that's not very nice on the cook. So there were all little rules, you know, that you were not allowed to stink, you had to wash yourself, those kind of things. But it worked out fine.
Connie headed for the next port of call, Auckland, New Zealand. Only occasionally did Flyer get these strong, favourable winds, having decided to stay north in search of the westerlies instead of plunging deeper into the Southern Ocean. A mistake which allowed King's Legend to finish ahead. But line honours went to Condor equipped with a new mast. Williams, Knox-Johnston and Blake had read the conditions perfectly.
When we did the Whitbread, we'd have to use the barometer and the clouds and the wind direction to tell us what weather might be coming. Satellite navigation hadn't come in, and if it had, it was about £100,000 and only fitted to nuclear submarines. So it just wasn't available to us. We had to use a sextant for navigation. Whereas now, you're just sitting looking at a little box that's updating your position to feet every 20 seconds and get a weather fax through that shows you exactly what the weather's going to be. You can also get predictions for 2-3 days in advance.
When you've been with real seamen like Robin Knox-Johnston, Leslie Williams, who don't need to have a satellite navigation system, they don't need to have a GPS, they don't need to have a radar. And to see these guys navigate spot on all the time made you realise how important the basics are, and that's where I think I come from now. I think unless you know the basics and understand what you're doing, doesn't matter how many computers you got on board, you won't win.
Flyer's performance in the third leg to Cape Horn and on to Rio assured her of the Whitbread trophy, barring serious gear failure. In the roaring 40s, Connie was in his element. Here was the exhilaration, the adventure he'd been looking for.
The highlight in sailing really is the Southern Ocean, the 40s and the 50s, to get a following wind. And sometimes icebergs, they were not so nice. And in our days, we were not allowed to radar, so we couldn't see them. You had to hope that you missed them. Because those growlers, they only come a few meters out of the water, and if you hit them, it's like hitting this wall, so you have to be careful. But that's a highlight in sailing, there's no doubt about it.
Conditions reminiscent of the Southern Ocean greeted Flyer in the Solent as she made her victory run to Portsmouth at the end of the 7-month voyage. In a force 9 gale against a strong tide with gusts reaching 55 knots, Flyer rolled wildly downwind, gunnel to gunnel.
We were so pleased when we arrived back that there was quite blowing a little bit. We lost the spinnaker in the Solent, but they were all so pleased that they forgot that we had to tack at a certain moment, so we nearly ran aground before the finish. But to keep the crew's attention when all the other boats were around you and people watching, shouting and so forth. But we made it.